Hi there, this is Fixed It. I've got this iPhone 5 and it's got a keyboard problem, and try and type in P, there is no P. So I've purchased a new screen for this, which I'm now going to fit. Before you start, you need to get yourself a micro hex screwdriver to take out these two special screws here on the bottom. So I'll do that now. Now I've unscrewed them, I'm going to use this magnet to collect them. But I'm actually now going to stick this onto a piece of metal so that they're out of the way and I don't lose them. The next thing you need is one of these contraptions or something similar. This is a holder for the phone and the screen, and you insert the phone in there, and then you can then lift up the screen, and the screen then locks into these two lugs and stays open. Now the reason for this is that there are 3 cables here, and if you rip the screen open you will snap those cables, destroying the screen or the touchpad. Sounds like the jets are flying low tonight, it's really quite loud. So that's what you need. This is an old phone that was smashed that I bought off eBay for parts, but I didn't quite realise that it was totally smashed. Utterly destroyed. And now I need to lift up the screen. Now what I find best to do here is to use a fingernail or thumbnail just to get underneath the edge. Let me take that out of there. Just to actually get over the underneath the edge and prise up the screen. Unfortunately, I cut my thumbnails yesterday, which was really, I hadn't thought about this. Now I'll slot my good phone into there, and then ever so gently lift up the screen. So I've got it to there, and now I'm going to lift the screen and make sure it goes into those 2 lugs. Now in the other phone I showed you, obviously all these cables were visible. But in fact the cables aren't visible because they're really covered by this metal panel. And here's the one off the old phone. So now what I need to do is to remove the screws, but before that I actually need to remove the screws down here, these 2 screws, and then flick up the catch that's underneath, which is the battery, because I want to make sure power's off before I do anything, because if I don't there's a damn good chance that it's going to short out and I'm going to kill the screen. So I'll just remove these 2, and these are just micro Phillips screws. I've slightly magnetised the screwdriver so I can lift that screw out. Put the screws to the side. Remove that piece and put it somewhere safe. Now what I need to do is to use my plastic splurger to lift up that catch. Okay, just move that out of the way. So that's it, now we've disconnected the battery. Okay, now the battery's disconnected and out of the way, I can now move back up here and remove these 4 screws. As you can see, if I didn't have this locked in here, I would actually be in some trouble at the moment with the risk of snapping the cables. You'll notice that some of these are different lengths, so when you actually put them down, ensure that you put them down at the side in the same pattern as the shape they came from, because then you can ensure that they all go back in the same place. So let me just show you what I've done. Okay, so they're in the same pattern. Use my tweezers to lift that off, and now I'll use my plastic splurger to spring off these cables. That's those two, and then there is just this one then at the end. There's the old screen off and away. So now what I need to do is to just go and get the new screen and then fit it. So here's the screen that I purchased, still in its box. It's missing the button, the loudspeaker, the camera and the associated connecting buttons at the side. So I'm going to have to transplant those off here onto this screen before I install it. Slightly more work than I anticipated, but hopefully it won't be too difficult. If you're working on transferring things from one device to another, then the best thing to do is to put them side by side, as I've done here. This is a pop open case, so let me just pop that open. If you want to take this off, which is the button, it looks like you could just undo those two screws, but in fact there's another piece here that's held in place by this screw, which is attached to this panel, so you can't just undo that and then kind of lift it and bend it. That's not a good idea. If we look at the other end, the situation's even more complicated. We'll begin by removing the loudspeaker. So let's just undo this screw, put it to one side, and undo this screw. Put that to the side. So what I'm going to do is to remove this one. And now I'm going to unscrew this screw at the bottom. And now I need to remove the screws on the side for the frame. Normally in this situation I'd use an electric screwdriver to do these fiddly little ones, but it makes such a noise it's difficult to talk. That's the two on that side, and there's two on this side. This plate will then lift up, but what I need to do is to ensure that the camera is out of its slot at this end. So just use this plastic piece, spin that around. Okay, so let's lift that up and lift the camera out of its slot. Okay, it's coming out. As you can see it in there. Okay, so now I need to lift this piece here, which is actually glued down, which is a bit of a nuisance. And once you've got this frame loose, you can lift the frame up and just lift it very, very gently and lift at the end, and the camera and sensor and all the other parts will come out. Now obviously don't put that face down, so you can put that to one side. And now you've freed up this ready for removal. So just two screws to remove. All that we need to do now is to remove these two screws. And take out the button. There we go, so there's part of the button, and then underneath that is actually the ring and the button itself with quite a bit of dirt around it. Got some isopropyl alcohol. Just put that on there and then give that a bit of a clean all the way around as best I can. Try and get the dirt off the outside edge, because we don't want that dirt on the inside. Hope you find this useful. Check out my other how-to and tip videos, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share my channel with others. Thanks for watching. Bye.